If your kids are driving you crazy, there is actually a pretty simple explanation. And today we're going to dive into that so that you can have the simple fix to understanding why your kids are going nuts and taking you with them. I'll be minding my own business, doing some tasks, something that is either important for the household or just something that I wanted to do for myself. And all of a sudden, there is screaming and fighting and yelling and throwing things. And it is just nuts. And my instinct is to go out there and just let her rip and say, "Hey, what's going on?" and blah, 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 and just take everything that's fun away and put everybody in their place and just tell them to all go away and be quiet. Well, I realized why. After a long time of things just being unhinged and me coming in there like a bear, realizing, you know what? Okay, for one thing, it doesn't work. It doesn't work when I come in there and just kind of shake everybody. There is a deeper reason as to why everybody's having a hard time. Then I wanted to talk about that because it's incredibly relevant for us mamas. Now, especially if you have, well, it actually doesn't even matter how many children you have. It is simply by having someone who needs you. And what it comes down to is them not feeling like you're there. And that's the root of it. So, why are your children driving you crazy? Generally, because they don't feel like there's a captain of the ship. They don't know what to do. They don't want to be the leaders of their lives. They are young and they still need someone guiding them and giving them the structure and the containment that they need. And that as the mother falls on your lap. And it's great. So it's really helpful to know what my job is. And my job as a mama is to help my children feel that there is enough structure so that they kind of know where the walls are and they don't feel like they are alone navigating the world trying to figure everything out, whether that's from conflict resolution or what's the meal plan for the day? What am I even supposed to choose from to eat? Here's the thing. I know that we have a pretty unique situation that I honestly wish that more people had. And that is that we unschool our children and we highly value freedom in our home and the freedom to get to choose, to make your decisions and whatnot. But with that, there's also the flip side of the challenge is not creating enough structure for kids. And in that side, it's kind of easy for them to feel a little unmoored because there's just too many decisions. You know, do you ever remember when I was a kid and Toys R Us? I know now it's called Walmart, but Toys R Us, this ginormous toy store. Never had I seen the like. And you could go in and it was just like a Walmart size that was just filled with toys and games and everything a kid could imagine. It was amazing. And with all of those options, it was really hard to make a decision on what to buy. Unless you already knew, like, I'm going in and I'm getting Barbie and the Rockers, and yeah, and I know what I want. But if you're just given willy nilly, like, hey, grandma gave you $20, go pick out your favorite thing today, man, I could be there for a week straight and still not really make my decision because there's too many options. So, too much freedom is is not helpful for your children, just as too much structure is not helpful for your children. But going back into what I began to notice as my house was erupt, as the kids were just, you know, having a heyday, fighting with each other, that it always seemed to follow a period of time where I had my attention elsewhere, whether I was busy doing whether I was on my phone or I was doing laundry and doing other household chores and like I'm bam, bam, bam. I'm just getting stuff done. And the kids are they're just they don't have the structure that they need or the direction for what to do, or honestly, the mama presence. Our presence is incredibly important to our children. Okay, speaking of the child and the mother security presence, this is how we are designed is to be together. Our babies come out of us and they are designed to be in our arms with us pretty much constantly until they can walk around. And if I had heard that when I was a new mom almost 18 years ago, that my job was to actually hold my child, that would have blown my mind, and I probably would have thought, oh, well, someone else can have this kid because I got other stuff to do. But realize, as you know, as I've had six children and I have learned lots of different parenting styles and come down to like what is it that organically, biologically we are designed to do, realizing that one of the most important jobs of a mother is to provide the nourishment and security for her child. Like that's, and that they are meant, we're designed to be held. We're designed to have that mother presence constantly. And that's not a drain on mothers. That's not meant to be like, here's your ball and chain, here's your baby. That's not it at all. It's when we can shift our perspective. I don't know what's happening to me, but the English language is elusive this week. Blah 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 blah. And when we can shift that understanding to see that my the most fulfilling thing for me as a mother is to have my child with me on me, and I'm not spoiling the child. I'm can you imagine in nature just putting your baby down on the ground and say, oh, well, hang on, I'll be right back. And they are alone and like, hey, take a nap, just go to sleep. Yeah. What are you kidding me? You're gonna leave? Like they are utterly helpless. And so putting a baby down in a crib and closing the door and just letting them cry it out and like they'll figure it out. They need to have a schedule. They need to have structure. Well, that's actually incredibly frightening for a baby, for a child to have its like you. There is an invisible umbilical cord still attached to you and your baby until they are actually have the confidence and the security to realize that they can start stepping out on their own in the world. And you know, whether that's starting at 2 or 3, and that's how we're designed. We The thing is that I was a mom who let my children cry it out because I was told that it was incredibly important to put my children on a schedule and to teach them to self-soothe and all that. So this isn't like a hammer coming down to say, "Oh, you moms, you're destroying your children." But gosh, I really wish I would have known earlier at the beginning that you know what's most beneficial to my child and to me is to, for one thing, keep my child with me, offer that security and that sense. Honestly, if you remember, or if you currently do have tiny little people, it feels so good to have their presence on you. It is a when I leave now, when I leave he's now 2.5. When I leave our youngest Parish at home and I come back, I want to eat him. I want to just I cannot sniff him enough and just kind of want to rub his scent all over me. And it's I've never felt so primal about being connected to my children as I do now. And I feel like I finally am understanding how biologically we're designed. And yet culturally we have gotten so far away from the truth of what is best for us and our children. All of this coming back to why are my children freaking out all the time and like I'm just trying to get some stuff done. I have needs too. Those are valid and important. Why can't, you know, that finding that balance. But the thing is the children just needing our presence, knowing that we are the captain of the ship when it comes to our caring for and nurturing our children. That's the mommy's role. It really, really is. Daddies have a different and still very valid and vital role, but it's our job. They're the protectors. They are the like the overall protector providers. But as a mama, we do our own protecting and providing for our children in a way that only we can do. And it is so beautiful. And it is so utterly meaningful. And culturally we really have we've replaced ourselves with daycare, with, oh, grandma's good enough. Um, we've we've prioritized work outside the home, or just or even if it's work inside the home. We've taken what's number one in our lives is making the money, and or having a career, having that validation that I am more than my biology. I am more than just a boob, basically. I can do more. I can farm out the easy stuff being, well, make sure the child's still alive, make sure they have toys, make sure they go take their nap, make sure that, that they eat some food and they have a clean bottom. Somebody else can do that easily. I have so much more talent than that. Oh, that's a great big lie that I swallowed. And it was really hard. And sometimes I still struggle with that. Like my desire to go and create something that when you're a mom and you have little people around still, your work is always interrupted. Eh, which I'm sure I probably will be interrupted in the course of this episode. And that's okay. But we just need to readjust our expectations of what and priorities of what really is important. Now, I'm not saying that the children's whims, because that's different than needs, the children's whims come above and beyond everything else in your life as a mother, that your job is to just serve your children and your husband, and that you are a domestic slave in servitude. No, no. Boundaries are beautiful. That it is okay to have priorities and to get those things done while children wait. That they don't, just because they want, all examples that I live with are, hey mama, can you braid my hair right now while I'm in the middle of making dinner? I'm sorry, no. But the answer is yes, but it's gonna be in 20 minutes when I'm available. Right now, I'm busy doing something for the family. Or so, I mean, but you're denying your child needs your help. No, she can wait. It's fine. And I will help her when I'm ready. So that's okay. Teach your children to wait, because you cannot have everything on demand. Again, that's where I think that so many of these cartoons, insert Bluey, are doing such a disservice to our children, making them believe that when they have something that they want to say, and this is a frequent thing at our house, that kids interrupting when Brian and I are having our grown-up conversation, and they just barge in as if it didn't matter, and that what they wanted to say was far outweighed anything that we were doing. And just teaching them to hang on and wait. Oh, I got to tell you, this is really hilarious. Speaking of that, so I'm putting my finger up for those of you listening and not seeing it on YouTube. But so I've been to teach our youngest, Parrish, to that, hey, just a minute, just a minute. I didn't realize that I was doing the putting my finger in the air for just a minute, but like I'd be brushing my teeth and he would be whining about something, and then I would put my finger up because I couldn't say just a minute. And all of a sudden he started, when I'd say, hey buddy, we need to go get a fresh diaper or something. And he would put his finger in the air and look at me very seriously, like, just a minute. And I loved seeing him learning his own personal boundaries. It's like, I'll do that, but when I'm ready. Okay, I'll be right with you, mother. So this is just they're always learning those little adorable sponges of information. It's just amazing. So boundaries are really helpful, and you deserve to have your personal space and personal time. But what I figured out was that so often what my children needed was they needed more structure. So I've, like fallen to the end of the less structure. And you might find perhaps you have too much structure, and that lack of freedom is throttling your children, and then they're acting nuts. So having awareness is really helpful of what's going on. Your kids are not acting like butts just because they are butt heads. They're not. We all go crazy when our basic needs aren't being met. Um, Honestly, it's when we feel like our security is not there. So often, what I realize, what I need to do when my kids are acting crazy is I need to enter in. Sometimes we need to just like shut everything down and diffuse. Like, okay, everybody go get your space, different spaces, different spaces. We will come back and we will talk about this in 10 minutes. Uh, Or sometimes you can just go right into it and redirect everybody. Okay, guys, right now this is what we're gonna do. Hey, let's have some kind of group activity. Hey, we're gonna cut up watermelon and make a snack. Okay, can you go get the plates? Give them responsibilities, give them a job. It makes them feel like they are part of something, part of the family, and that they're needed. It's really important to not only let your kids do things, but to expect it of them. Another thing, this just brings up, I am so grateful for my sister's example with her 6 kids. And they started their family earlier than I did. And so I just got to watch her in her mothering. And I was profoundly amazed by how respectful she was to her children. She wasn't deferring to her kids, but she just spoke to them in such a respectful manner that it surprised me. And it was such a lesson. It was such a quiet, strong lesson for me in learning how incredibly important it is to treat our children with respect, that they are they're incredibly intelligent and aware. And again, they're learning by example. If you treat them like little minions who have no brains and no sentience on their own, that you just have to boss them around, always bossing them around. Go do that, go do that. That's different than leaders. That's it. I'm sure that you have either had or seen in a movie a boss that was really crappy, that they just had no regard for their employees. They prioritized themselves over their, the people that work for them, and that lacked, they just weren't good bosses, And as mothers, we are the boss of our kids. And it's up to us of what quality of a boss, of a leader are we going to be? Are we just going to slap them around and boss like, hey, go do that. Hey, and be harsh and critical? I know that if I start getting that way, it's because I feel like crap about myself. I'm upset or worried about something else, and I don't have the bandwidth to be gracious to me or to anybody else. That's a problem. That's a big problem. And that is why self care is such an incredibly important thing, and living with self awareness. Being aware, being able to see, like, oh my gosh, look, in a gentle, non judgmental way, I can observe my behavior and say, wow, that's really ridiculous. What is going on? What's going on with you? Why are you feeling unhinged? Okay, let's create a realization. Oh, I'm feeling unhinged because I'm worried about this thing and whatnot. Okay, well, why? And then I can go and I can address that issue. It's like if your house is flooding and you don't know where the leak is. You're just addressing the water. Like this water, oh, yeah, water is bad. This water, my reaction is bad. Oh, I got to change my reaction. Well, how about we fix the reason that you're having that reaction in the first place? Let's go find where the leak is and go stop that. And then we can deal, the rest will get resolved. Yeah. So we have to come from a place of wholeness and of taking care of ourselves and being aware, being able to be nice to ourselves if we are going to be respectful and kind and nice to our own children, which is something they deserve to have. You know, you are the only mother of your children in a very, like the relationship that you have with your kids, no one else gets to have. Now, even that goes for being a stepmom or having adopted children. Your relationship is incredibly unique, and it is a gift to both you and them. It's an opportunity of a lifetime. That relationship is, you're not just like their second grade teacher. Some like, and then they'll get out of the house and they'll have their lives, and then maybe we'll see them on the holidays. That may be the fact of the matter. But there is no one like a mother who shapes their children. Like, kind of like the whole fate of their child is on you. And that sounds very ominous, but I think incredibly, when it comes to honoring motherhood, valuing what motherhood really is, I mean, man, what a job. What an honor. What a challenge. It's tough and it's beautiful. As a mama, you probably know, you understand all of the feelings that go into the ups and the downs of your children. But there is nothing, there is no corporate job, there is no individual career, there's no something marker of fame that makes up for how we end up showing up for our kids. And it's incredible. And the honoring of that, the understanding, the deep understanding of how incredibly important motherhood is, that relate our job, the role, the occupation of motherhood. Changing that value begins with you, begins with me. If I see that value and I respect that and honor that and stand tall in my role as a mother, knowing how incredibly vital my role is for simply for me that this is my once in a lifetime job. Wow. I want to make sure that I show up and do well. I don't want to treat it like one of those jobs you show up to, you sit down in your cubicle, you got your computer up, but you got your phone in your lap and you're looking at Facebook the whole time and you're playing games on your phone, and then maybe you get a little bit of work done, maybe you make some calls and then you clock out, maybe you spend 30 minutes talking to so and so at the water cooler for, 3 times during the day. I don't want that to be how I treat my motherhood. And honestly, I did. I did. I did not honor it. I just thought it was like, you make a baby, you have a baby, they're there for a while, and they go get busy, go do something else. And I got real stuff to do in my life. No, the real stuff I was missing out. That was part of why, like, I had a total, like, I rewrote my life. I rewrote my role because I was so upside down. I was so unhappy. But I knew that I loved having children, but I didn't value the raising of my children, didn't value the importance of my role as a mother until I just hit this crisis point and went, "Ah, I'm looking for something more meaningful in my life. Maybe I'm supposed to go and be this big something or other, go write some books, or I don't know. There's something bigger than just doing." I was a photographer at the time, and it's like, I'm more than just taking pictures. That's more than I have to offer to the world. There's something. And I spent like a year deeply questioning. If you listen to the inaugural episode, the very first episode from Boss Babe to Powerhouse, I talk about my journey of how of leaving this mindset of work is the most important and I've got to go make the money to, oh my gosh, I'm missing my children's childhoods. I'm missing out on all the motherhood moments. Like I don't even know my kids. I don't even know them. And I work from home. Like how is that possible? And I spend as much time as I could with them, and but my mind was always worrying about business things and like, oh, I gotta, okay, I took the kids to the park. When can we go home? Or here I'm on my phone looking at my email, responding to clients, and oh, okay, well, oh, look at you going down the slide. Okay, back to my phone, back to business because this is, hey guys, someone's got to make the money. I'm doing it, and it it was so much stress and pressure, and I couldn't do them both well, and I was totally burned out. So finally getting to a point of realizing, okay, hang on a minute. Working for strangers that, I'll have an impact in their lives. Maybe they'll remember me in 10 years. I don't know. But I'm just shelving my children. That's not good enough. That is not good enough anymore. Something has to change. And in rediscovering the value of motherhood, I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for that crisis. And I'm not fixed. I still struggle with where my priorities are because I like doing fun things. And I totally get it as a mom, especially with little people, or especially if you have them home with you a lot, then like we do, that you don't have a whole lot of time generally to focus your attention on completing a task unless you bring your kids in. But that's why it's really important to create some kind of schedule so that they have an expectation. So you can say, okay, hey, mommy's going to do this for an hour, then I will be done, which I try to stick to, but sometimes I go over. And then we will do XYZ. Oh, see, now they know. They don't have to freak out. Now they know what's expected of them, what is expected of me. Oh, okay, all right. We got somebody else as the boss, not me as a child. The child does not have to try to fend for themselves in the wilderness of the home where the parent isn't really present. There's so many ways that it's easy for us to not be present. And I think our phones are number one. They're just so available. They're with us everywhere. And I really want to encourage you to join me in scheduling your online time, your response time to social apps and things, and even to email, to create more space for yourself and more genuine, true connection with your children. Because the more connected you are with your children, the more secure that they feel, the less outbursts are going to occur. I really admire the Amish, which there are quite a few in southeast Iowa where we live. And when I see them with their children, the women are peaceful. Their children are peaceful. Us regular old American gals, for the most part, I don't think we're very peaceful. And our children reflect that. The more we can get to a state of true calm and peace within ourselves, and I don't think that that's just about meditation and, all the Zen stuff. It's really about what are we putting in our lives that's stressing us the heck out, which is a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Hey, the Amish don't have phones. I'm just saying. They don't have Facebook or Snapchat or TikTok. Ugh. And there isn't I mean, they have their own pressures, sure. But what I really admire and what I see is I see a woman who knows and values her job, her role, and who isn't torn in a million directions. Even though, I mean, girl, they work so hard. They are hardworking mamas with so much to do, and yet with a peaceful heart, with a sense of security. And perhaps that comes from their faith, but I think it also comes with a clear expectation for themselves of what their role is. And yeah, and then the kids too, like mom and dad are peaceful. They know they have their roles and they feel good and secure. I know my role and I feel good and secure too. So those are some discoveries and the tools in your toolbox of when the house erupts with crazy yelling and just kids seem to like they will never stop fighting. We need to engage with our kids. We need to give them some structure. We need to give them some things to do. And that doesn't mean like, "Now go clean your room, you little jerk." It means, hey, uh, you know what? I could really use your help with this. Let's do this together. Get them started. Make it a fun thing, not a punishment. You guys were such naughty children, ruining my day with your bad attitude. Now go do this horrible job. That's not it. That's not going to solve it. It's going to make them resent you and wish you were squished by a car. So don't do that. Instead, recognize that they just need the security of your attention and of the structure that you provide. So as mamas, we get to provide containment for our children until they start to develop into young adults. And then they learn how to create their own containment. That's emotional maturity. And our husbands get to help create a container for us emotionally because as women, we are a lot like water and they get to be the vessels, that strong vessel with the walls that holds us so that we can do our fluid, beautiful job and feel that sense of security. Our men are our protectors, they are our providers. And it's just beautiful when we can sink in to that gorgeous polarity of our roles. So I hope this helps. I hope this gives you a little bit of something, a little piece, a little, oh, you know what? They're not, my kids aren't being buttheads just to be buttheads. They actually have a really valid need right now. How can I create the conditions to give them what they need so that we can have a more peaceful, happy home and that there can be less craziness going on? Because I don't like being a screaming mom. I hate it. And it's so dumb that I approach so often as a knee-jerk reaction everybody having a mental breakdown and going crazy with my own mental breakdown and going crazy. Let's see who can scream the loudest and be the most rude. So, parenting with respect, giving our kids that containment and security, and your loving attention. It's really, really helpful. I just want to leave with a couple little tips on what are some of those loving attention things that we can do for our kids so that you don't have to like, when you're at your wit's end, it's really hard to come up to be creative. It is. So here's a couple things you can just put in your pocket and pull out for to help. Okay, so I'm going to calm it down. I'm going to help divide people. I know that I'm going to have at least 3 people that are going to want to explain to me everything that went, who did what, and how it wasn't their fault. Okay, we're going to calm down. And I'm going to say, hey, I would love for you to finish your helping job here. And in 15 minutes, guys, we are going to have a strawberry snack. And so you can like diffuse it, give them a few minutes apart, doing something constructive. And it can be, hey, quiet reading time. It can be, hey, I would like you to build me a Lego creation that is the tallest thing that you can make. All right, you got 15 minutes on your marker set, go. Kids are really great, especially our boys, when we can give them a mission. So, but right now, they're all hot and bothered. Need to diffuse and calm down. Now, so you can start with, hey, let's have a group snack or hey, in 15 minutes we're going to go to the library or in 15 minutes we're going to go on a bike ride to the park. So something that can especially if you know that they have energy that needs to get out. How can they move in a positive, we can all move in the same direction. Those are helpful things. Or it could be, we're going to have story time. So, and hey, so pick your child who likes to be the culinary person. Can you help me figure out a good snack for everybody? Oh, good. Now they're useful, they're needed, their expertise is being asked for, and they can contribute. It's a beautiful thing. Those are different things. Hey, I'm going to go fold the laundry. I want you to come and be my helper. And then you put on happy music so that it's not a drudgery and that they feel like they have some special time with you. And then ask them things like, hey, so did you have any fun, crazy dreams last night? How's your friend doing? And so how is the picture? You were drawing a lot yesterday. What was your favorite picture that you made? So asking those kinds of questions, so you're building that connection with them. So hopefully those will give you some ideas for what to do when everyone's acting nutballs. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. A really quick little update on our puppies. They arrived last week and they are a week old tonight. They'll be a week old. Tonight's a Wednesday. Anyway. And it was just a beautiful birth experience. Winnie is doing fantastic. And if you want to follow along, you can go to iowagoldenretrievers.com, sign up for my newsletter, and every week I do a weekly pup date. You can also find the Facebook page, which is Iowa Golden Retrievers. And I like to post videos almost daily and photos of the puppies as they're growing and our dogs, Winnie and Tucker. It's just so fun. Thank you so much for being with me today. And if this was encouraging to you, I really hope that you share this with another woman who could use it. I really want to create a sisterhood. And speaking of that, I want to kind of re-announce that in a couple of weeks, I will be offering the course of coming into your feminine, stepping into your feminine. And I'm really excited about this opportunity to get to walk along. It's a 4-week course, walk along with you ladies and help you with just, I think in many ways as girls, we were encouraged to step into our masculine. And I don't think we've ever really gotten to explore what what that looks like. And that's not just in how we come into the world and or like show up in the world with our clothing or hair and makeup, but that is also part of it. And that is an aspect we're going to cover about wardrobe and how we are treating ourselves and our bodies and our appearance. But really the heart of it is being like twirling into our femininity, understanding what it means, the heart of being a woman, and getting comfortable with that. You may have grown up a tomboy. I really felt and identified with that as well. And it was awkward becoming a woman. And I had a lot of hangups about it. And long story, because it's me. I remember a couple years ago, I had this one particular name picked out for a little girl. And it's such a feminine name. It was so girly. And I felt like this baby was going to be so beautiful. And it sounds dumb, but I almost felt jealous. I did jealous of her. Like, I don't know that I can have such a beautiful feminine daughter because I don't understand what that feels or looks like. And I just am not comfortable with it. And I didn't know how to handle my femininity. Since then, I've become so grounded in being a woman and delighting in my femininity. And I want to help other women who have struggled with that, who have been afraid to embrace the beauty of their queenhood and their girlishness and all the gentle, soft, beautiful, strong things that make us women, that make us different from men. So yeah, if you are interested in joining me for that, it's a 4-week course. We're going to have weekly Zoom calls and some weekly email prompts or emails with journaling prompts. And I want to help each one of you with your journey into that so that you can come into your queenhood in such a beautiful way. To stay connected and receive gentle nudges of inspiration, behind the scenes updates, and resources for your own awakening, just check the link in the show notes below. I'm so glad you're here. We're building something beautiful together. I look forward to being here next week, and I hope you'll join me. Thanks.